Under the pale glow of the moon, the royal palace shimmered like silver against the night. Inside, a young man stood before his mirror, his uniform embroidered with gold that caught the candlelight. "How do I look, Your Highness?" he asked, striking a confident pose. Behind him, the prince frowned. "Too much." "Take it off." Ina, the maid fixing his collar, hesitated. "It looks pretty to me," she said softly. "You used to like things like this." He didn't answer, just watched her in silence until she stepped back. There, all done. As she turned to leave, his voice stopped her. "Ina." She turned, startled. "Shall we dance?" Her cheeks flushed. "But pardon?" "I need practice," he said evenly, eyes calm. "But I have no partner," she stammered, clutching her apron. Do we really have to?" He chuckled. "Don't tell me you'll step on my feet." "I won't," she blurted, flustered as his hand found hers. "Then follow my lead," he murmured. Their steps moved slowly, rhythmically beneath the chandelier's glow. Ina's heart raced, his hand firm but gentle. "Are you underestimating me, Your Highness?" she teased. "I'm actually quite good." "Oh? With who?" he asked. "I'm popular," she replied smugly. "But this is my first time with someone this short." He blinked. She grinned. A beat later, "Ina, you just stepped on my foot," she gasped playfully. "Oops, another accident." Laughter filled the room, blending with faint music drifting through the palace. Elsewhere, in the grand ballroom, nobles twirled under chandeliers as the king watched from above, wine swirling in his hand, gaze cold and unreadable. The royal ball glittered with light and chatter. The young prince mingled politely among nobles, though his attention broke when a tall figure entered, the infamous Count Sidor. The man's presence alone seemed to chill the air. So even Sidor came tonight, the prince thought. This isn't just a social visit. Soon his older brother approached, composed and elegant. "Still wearing those glasses, brother?" he teased. "It's nothing for you to worry about," the prince replied flatly. A ceremonial horn silenced the crowd. Doors opened wide and a man in a crimson cape strode in, his golden hair gleaming beneath the lights. The king rose, voice steady. "Welcome, honored guest," the noble bowed. "I'm grateful for your hospitality, Your Majesty." Then he turned. "I've come with my younger sister." A hush fell as she appeared, descending the marble steps like light itself. Her golden hair shimmered, her sky-blue gown trailing gracefully. "I greet His Majesty," she said, voice soft yet clear. The young prince froze. Yekaterina. Memories hit, her smile, their hands entwined, and the heartbreak that followed. Never again, he vowed. But when her eyes met his resolve faltered. She was as radiant as ever. He looked away, trying to mask the turmoil while his brother greeted her warmly. The night carried on with laughter and music, but for him, time seemed to stop between what was and what could never be again. Later, by the banquet table, he stood quietly nibbling a cookie, watching his brother lead a noblewoman in a flawless dance, as expected of Cedric Young. A true monarch, he thought bitterly. His eyes drifted again to Yekaterina, now smiling as another man offered his hand. The sight cut deeper than he expected. He turned away sharply. "Damn it," he muttered. Then a cheerful voice snapped him back. "Your Highness, would you like a cookie?" Ina appeared, tray in hand, and a bright smile on her face. Her warmth eased the tension in his chest. "Thanks, Ina, you've worked hard." "Think nothing of it," she chirped. "Compared to cleaning up after someone every day, this is easy." He smirked faintly. "Enough talk. Just give me more cookies." Her laughter lingered as she left, leaving him momentarily at peace. But peace didn't last. The sound of approaching boots drew his gaze upward. A tall man in a red cloak stood before him, presence heavy, eyes sharp. "You are—" The prince began cautiously. The stranger smiled faintly, his uniform glinting under the light. "The Empire's second prince, Georg Ivarna Granzayan." Images flashed. Battlefields, blazing standards, the Empire's armies crushing Briol. The man who led our downfall. Forcing composure, Yuri bowed. "Yuri Briol, Third Prince of Briol." Georg's smirk deepened. "So you are the one." The air thickened. Power rippled, an invisible pressure coiling around Yuri's body. His breath caught. Sweat ran down his temple. 13 this year, aren't you?" Georg said, eyes glowing cold green. Truly Fiore's son. Then as suddenly as it came, the pressure vanished. Georg stepped back, tone almost admiring. Such remarkable talent. Yuri clenched his fists. That wasn't praise. It was a warning. From the side, Cedric muttered darkly, "What an unpleasant bastard." Then, a sharp crash. Everyone turned. Ina knelt on the floor, hands trembling, crimson wine spreading across the polished marble, creeping toward Georg's cloak. The red stain touched the imperial emblem. Her face drained of color. "The imperial emblem," she whispered. "I've defiled it." The ballroom went deathly silent. Georg looked down, voice low and smooth. "Oh no." His lips curved in a chilling smile. "This child," he murmured, hand drifting to his sword, "seems to have made a mistake." Steel rasped from its sheath, gleaming beneath the chandeliers. "According to imperial law," he said coldly, "the punishment is execution." The chandelier sways, gold light scattering. Georg's sword is inches from a kneeling maid, and the ballroom is so quiet you can hear panic thinking. "Have you come to disrupt my ball?" Heavy footsteps. The King of Briol descends like a storm in a uniform. "If you want blood," he says, stopping before Georg, "spill it on your own land." Silence. Georg's smirk twitches, then he sheathes the blade. "I ask for your majesty's understanding," he purrs. Translation: "I'd like to keep my head today." "The Empire and Briol have respected each other's authority," the king says. Georg's tone sharpens. "And yet you don't." Then he drops the name. Gattensha. A yes. Diplomacy's favorite pastime, digging up old scandals at parties. "When your majesty executed not a Briol knight but an imperial one," Georg says, voice carrying to every corner. The king's jaw tightens. The ballroom suddenly feels less waltz, more battlefield. Georg lifts the blade again. "This is the same. For peace and honor." Nothing says peace like brandishing a sword at service staff. The tip hovers at the maid's throat. "There won't be much blood," he adds. Wow. Customer service voice, execution content. Yuri's hands curl into fists. He knows stepping in pokes the Empire's pride like with a spear. "Briol does not abandon honor, your majesty." His voice cracks the tension. He steps between Georg and the maid. "That child is under my protection." Georg studies him, amused and annoyed, like someone just told him no for the first time in his life. Underneath a flicker, caution. This boy isn't posturing. He means it. The king's voice follows, iron steady. "Then her fault is the same as my own." Yuri adds, calm but firm, "I carry royal blood. Please take that into consideration." Gasps roll through the nobles. Finally something worth gossiping about besides pastries. Yuri lifts his chin. "Withdraw the execution and grant a trial by combat." Georg laughs low. "Yuri, the third prince." "Yes, your majesty." "May I call you Yuri?" The fake courtesy could cut glass. "Of course. Very well. I accept." The king exhales, resigned, not weak. "So be it." Georg spins his sword and sheathes it with theatrical flourish. "Normally I'd duel you myself," he says, basking. "But for imperial dignity I'll send my youngest squire." Classic. Outsource the danger, keep the spotlight. Yuri bows. "I'm grateful for your mercy." "See you at the duel," Georg says, cape doing its smug little wave. The hall exhales. Yuri turns to the maid. "Ina." She's shaking. "Your Highness. Because of me. Go rest," he says, gently helping her up. "Don't worry about me." She's led away, tears glinting in the chandelier's light, while every eye burns holes in Yuri's back, the boy who challenged an empire before dessert. Through the thinning crowd, Yuri spots long golden hair. "Catherine." She watches, calm but worried. He looks away. Schedule heartbreak for later. From a balcony, a silver-haired noble sips wine, studying Yuri like he's tomorrow's headline. Night replaces the ballroom glow. Moonlit corridors, tall windows, quiet thoughts until, "What were you thinking?" Yuri stops. "Brother, do you realize what you've done?" The older prince asks, stepping close. "I couldn't watch Ina die," Yuri says. No wobble, just truth. A gloved hand lands on Yuri's head, rare warmth from a man who files emotions under classified. "You had no choice, huh?" There's the smallest smile, then the blade under the velvet. "Should I help you?" "How?" "Your opponent," he says lightly. "If their skills are similar, an accident could happen. Royal help, supportive with optional fatality. "I'll handle it myself," Yuri replies, crisp. His brother studies him, then, miracle, smiles for real. "Right, I trust you, Yuri Briol." "Of course." Yuri walks on, thoughts settling like armor. "If the Empire hadn't crushed us, brother would be king. This time I'll fight to see that future." Morning. Sun slams into the cathedral courtyard. White stone, bright banners, blades ready. At center, Yuri, calm. Across from him, a towering knight in full imperial plate. The stands fill with high-ranking nobles whispering like pigeons with titles. The third prince. Calling a duel? One scoffs. Lord Sened strokes his beard. The squire's stance is excellent. Quite imperial. Will his highness be all right? Another asks. Sened's mouth twitches. Look, all eyes drop to the arena. Yuri stretches, rolls his shoulders. Exhales like this is a morning warm-up, not a national incident. Draws his sword in one smooth, unbothered line. "There's no need to worry," Sened says quietly, pleased. Because in Yuri's eyes there's that red spark, the oath that doesn't bluff. In the hierarchy of magic there existed one title so rare that most mages would sooner explode their labs than reach it. Grand Wizard. Among the Magic Tower's elites, this rank was reserved for those who'd achieved Dokman Mado, the transcendence of mind and spirit. Basically enlightenment, but with fireworks. Few could touch the forbidden art known as Heaven's Mandate Observation Formula. Not a spell, but a divine power, a cheat code into destiny itself. And only one man had ever used it, Hernan. He was supposed to be the smartest man alive. Until the night he got absolutely wrecked at a gambling table. Across from him, a calm young man flicked poker chips like he was born doing it. "How can you not win a single round?" "You're terrible at this." Hernan twitched. For a man who could supposedly see fate, this was awkward. His mind screamed, "I can read anyone. But this boy? Nothing, no energy. No destiny. Just a blank screen." And in that emptiness, Hernan saw something terrifyingly familiar. The same shadow he once glimpsed through divine vision. A boy with black hair, royal eyes. The Third Prince of Briol. His vision burned again, a battlefield on fire. The young prince fought like a dying god, bloodied but unyielding. The vision ended in despair, yet Hernan couldn't shake it. He activated Heaven's Mandate again, runes glowing gold, fate unraveling before his eyes, until he saw the truth. Prince Yuri has no fate. Back at the dueling grounds, sunlight gleamed off marble. Yuri gripped his sword. "I'm ready." "How long are you going to keep swinging at air?" His armored opponent smirked, confident. From the royal box, a blonde prince leaned forward. "Sure you don't need to warm up?" "I'm fine," Yuri replied. "You'll be the one needing rest soon." The officiator raised his voice. "Begin the trial by combat." They clashed instantly. Steel shrieked against steel. Sparks burst like fireworks as the third prince lunged with stunning speed. The knight barely kept up. Every motion was fluid, precise. A dance between lightning and steel. The audience gasped. Nobles whispered disbelief. On the balcony, the silver-haired wizard Hernan watched silently, golden eyes narrowing. Something about the boy's movement felt off, almost divine, and possibly illegal. The clang of steel filled the air as tension rippled through the stands. The king's tone was grave. "Hernan," he said, eyes fixed on the duel. "How will this end?" Hernan's gaze flickered. "Honestly?" he murmured. "No one can predict this one." The king frowned. "That's not what I wanted to hear." But Hernan only smiled. The smile of a man who enjoys being unhelpful. Below, Yuri countered a brutal strike with flawless timing, the kind that makes seasoned warriors reconsider their careers. The king pressed further. "You came to Briol following Heaven's will, didn't you?" "Yes, your majesty." "Then, is it time for you to leave?" The entire hall went silent. Hernan just laughed softly. "No, not yet. I rather like it here, especially when people aren't trying to stab each other every 5 minutes." The king exhaled in relief. "Good." Hernan bowed politely. "I'm grateful your majesty thinks so highly of this humble magician." The king's eyes narrowed. "Excessive humility invites misfortune." Translation: "Don't get cocky, old man." Hernan chuckled. "Then allow me to ask, who do you think is stronger?" Down below, the knight's aura erupted. crimson energy exploding like a firestorm. "The opponent," the king said grimly. Ernan nodded, expression darkening. So he sees it too. He'd once believed Briol's glory had vanished, but as he watched Yuri push forward through the knight's onslaught, something stirred in him. An uncomfortable realization that maybe, just maybe, destiny had changed its mind. The knight lunged, a blur of armor and rage. Each swing cracked the marble beneath their feet. Yuri stood still, calm, unreadable, then whispered, "Not yet." Blue light burst from his blade, flooding the arena. "Shall we end this?" He vanished in a flash, reappearing faster than the eye could follow. Their swords collided, red and blue, thunder and fire, until a blinding explosion swallowed them both. When the light cleared, everyone froze. Two silhouettes remained, blades locked, the air trembling. Nobles leaned forward. One knight whispered, "Heavens." Ernan smiled knowingly. To twist the sword in that moment? Impressive. Dust settled. The imperial knight stumbled back, weapon slipping from his hand. Yuri stood tall, calm as dawn. "How was it?" he asked, like he'd just finished a light workout. The defeated knight blinked, voice shaking. I won!" Cue the confetti. The crowd exploded in cheers, and because apparently delusion counts as sportsmanship. Ernan rose slowly, clapping once, golden eyes gleaming. "Following heaven's will led me here, yet I've met one who defies it." Below, Yuri wiped his face, smiling brightly, the kind of smile that could make even fate feel awkward. Ernan whispered to himself, "From the tip of that boy's sword, heaven's decree has changed," and for the first time the all-seeing wizard felt something he hadn't in decades: uncertainty. Maybe this world still has surprises left. 5 years later, the grand palace of Briol gleamed beneath a perfect blue sky, quiet, majestic, and about to host pure chaos. Somewhere inside, a young maid sprinted down the corridor, muttering frantically. Everything was going so smoothly. "How did I even mix up my patrol zone?" She stopped, clutching her chest. "If I get caught like this, hey, you there." Her soul left her body. Standing before her was a tall man in a tailored navy suit, black hair, sharp gaze, royalty stamped all over him. "Are you new?" he asked coldly. "What are you doing here?" She panicked. "Okay, think. If he's stern, he's the king. If he smiles, he's the crown prince. But if he looks like he's planning something..." Oh no, she froze. The smirk, the walk, the swagger. "Definitely the third one, huh? Are you mocking me?" he said, eyebrow twitching. "And no, I was just, busy," she squeaked, waving her hands like that would fix anything. He sighed. "What, you people have a guidebook? Avoid this guy at all costs?" She stammered. That's not it." He leaned closer, voice low. "You little punks, I'll teach you, bro." The voice stopped him cold. Another man approached, calm, confident, sword at his side, posture screaming main character energy. The maid blinked. "If he carries a sword and actually looks sane, that's him." The third prince smiled warmly. "Picking on her again?" "Well, no!" the older one barked defensively. Moments later, the third prince, Yuri, was outside, munching on a cookie like nothing happened. The sun hit his white shirt, his expression calm, thoughtful, the kind of man who can save a kingdom and enjoy snacks at the same time. "Picking on maids again?" Yuri teased. His brother turned crimson. "No!" The maid, still flustered, held out a small pastry. "Thank you. Even this is more than enough." Later, Yuri walked the halls alone, chewing quietly. "That maid really knows how to bake," he muttered with a faint grin. Then he raised his hand. Mana hummed around his fingers, glowing faintly. Sosugyong, the bare hand realm. Even while wielding a sword, he could ease the strain on his body. "At least I've reached that level," he murmured. A flicker of his past life flashed. Loran's sword, the betrayal, the fall. 5 years since he returned, and peace already felt like a luxury. He looked up at the sun, whispering, "Looks like peaceful days are coming to an end." He turned toward the distant spire. They're probably getting noisy by now. Right on cue, pounding, shouting, and noble-level drama echoed down the corridor. "Are you ignoring me?" "That's not it," someone screamed behind a heavy door. Yuri stood calmly, patience fading. "You're the one not listening." The guard beside him whispered, "Perhaps knock again, Your Highness?" He smiled tightly. "Sure." One very magical knock later, the door exploded off its hinges, scattering nobles like pigeons. "Oh, sorry," Yuri said, stepping through the wreckage. "I knocked. Maybe a bit hard." A noble groaned. "That's not knocking at all." Ignoring them, Yuri looked at the head of the table. "Father, I'll attend the meeting." The king nodded, utterly unbothered. "Very well." And just like that, the third prince joined the political battlefield, and uninvited but unstoppable. Inside, chaos bloomed faster than wine at a royal banquet. "We can't send troops," one noble barked. "Are you saying we'll defy the empire?" Another shouted. Yuri sat silently, eyes cold. "So it begins." He remembered it all. The Alliance Army. The Empire's grand scheme to eliminate orcs. In reality, it had been a trap. The orcs retaliated, annihilating every nation's borders, when except the Empire's. He clenched the report in his hand. "Not this time. I won't send a single soldier." "Oh yeah? Then what about—" "Enough." The single word silenced the hall. Yuri rose. "I'll go," he said firmly. "I'll join the Alliance Army myself." The nobles froze. He continued, "Show some sincerity. In the name of Briol, don't bring shame to yourselves." The king watched quietly, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. "So that's your move, huh?" Later, steel clashed in the training courtyard. Yuri trained hard, blade flashing in the morning light. "Yuri," his brother yelled, running toward him, panting. "Are you really going to the Alliance Army?" "Yeah, but why you?" "Royalty doesn't need to go." Yuri smiled faintly. "It's our duty." His brother froze and then struck a heroic pose. "All right, Yuri. I understand your resolve." "And now you do?" Yuri muttered. "I'll protect the palace while you're gone," his brother declared proudly, then bolted off before Yuri could even roll his eyes. Watching him vanish, Yuri sighed. Such touching brotherhood. His sparring partner chuckled. "Let's just hope he doesn't cause an incident." Yuri smirked. "You're not worried about me?" "Only if you do something reckless," the man said. "Thanks for the vote of confidence." But the tone soon shifted. "Be careful, Yuri. Orcs are tougher than people think." Yuri's gaze darkened, especially the ones with banners on their backs. Among the orcs, those marked with crimson banners were monsters among monsters. Brutal, cunning, unstoppable. Yuri's mentor frowned. "They're the ones you should avoid. They don't die easily." Yuri smiled. "Don't worry. I've got a plan." The older man raised an eyebrow. "You have a plan?" Before Yuri could reply, a maid ran in, breathless. "Your Highness, a guest has arrived. They brought what you ordered." Yuri looked up at the sky, eyes gleaming with quiet determination. "A plan?" he repeated with a smirk. "Of course. A very special one." A maid sprinted down the corridor, breathless. "Your Highness, a guest has arrived. He brought what you ordered." Outside, Yuri traded a look with his mentor. "A plan?" the older man asked. Yuri smirked. "Of course. Something special." Sunset poured amber light into a quiet, lavish room. Porcelain clinked. A man sipped tea, patient as a cat. Yuri entered, calm, measured. "I greet the prince," the guest said, bowing with polished grace. "Vice President, Elaine Trading Company." "And Elaine?" Yuri asked. "She's away on business," he replied. A flash of Elaine riding through a forest, cloak, confidence, the works. "She insists she's made for field work." Yuri leaned back. "Honestly, is that all you came for?" The vice president chuckled, setting a carved box on the table. "Of course not. I brought the item you requested." Yuri opened it, eyes glinting. "Well done, Guillermo. At last." Inside lay 4 elegant daggers, blades engraved like starlight. The 4-wheel blade. Guillermo blinked. "Is that really valuable? Looks ornamental." "It's extremely valuable," Yuri said, lifting one. A relic imbued with ancient magic. A faint blue aura wrapped the dagger. It floated, spinning lazily above his palm. "Eek, it moved on its own." Guillermo squeaked. "It's fine," Yuri said. "It won't kill you." Comforting tone. Alarming content. "Are you moving it with mana?" Yuri's amusement flickered. "Did you think I just played around all day?" The blade pulsed oddly. Yuri paused, then let it settle, closing the box. "Send my regards to Elaine. Next time, bring a progress report on the Imperial branch." Guillermo bowed deeply. "Understood." Silence returned with the sunset lines across the floor. Yuri leaned back. "You can come out now." Shadows rippled. A woman in black stepped forward, silent, lethal. Asana, Yuri said with a faint smirk. I delivered the warning to Goryo as ordered, she replied, purple hair catching the firelight. A memory flashed. Goryo jolting awake, a letter pinned by his pillow. Yuri chuckled. He's always trying to get Elaine's money. She studied him. Are you truly joining the Allied forces? The palace staff are talking. I am. Be careful, she murmured. You talk like it doesn't concern you. Yuri opened one eye. What do you mean? You're coming too. A small smile. You think you can keep up? The fire crackled. Asana's voice lingered. Anywhere's better than where I came from. Then stay in touch, Yuri said, steady. Her form dissolved into shadow. A few days later, deployment day. A crimson Briol flag snapped against the sky. The courtyard buzzed with armor and nerves. Yuri, his brother called, immaculate in a dark suit, worry tucked behind his glasses. Come back safe. Yuri, polished armor, sunrise on steel, smiled. Don't worry. I'm invincible. I'll make Briol shine again. His brother tried for casual. Take breaks from studying, okay? Look after your eyes. Ha, got it. A beat, half pride, half fear. Then a sudden hug, tight and real. Take care, little brother. I'll be back, Yuri said softly. A horn split the air. Banners thundered above the walls. The march toward destiny began. Under a blazing sun, the ceremony roared to life. The king stood on the podium, presence like a hammer. Yuri climbed the crimson steps, boots precise. Nervous? The king asked, stern, faintly fatherly. Not at all. Then turn around. Rows upon rows of soldiers stared back, an ocean of lives under Briol's banner. All these soldiers. Their lives rest on your shoulders, Yuri. Not everyone will return. Yuri's jaw set. But no meaningless deaths. Not again. Are you ready to bear that burden? Yes, father. Of course. Then take this head on. Crimson energy flared from the king's palm. Ancient runes seared across Yuri's skin. His eyes widened. Resolve hardened. The air crushed down. Killing intent. A monstrous red aura rose, twisting like a living shadow. Yuri's body seized. My body, it's not moving. From the darkness, the silhouette approached. Slow, deliberate. What's walking toward me now is death. A deep, warped voice in his mind. If you try to run, you'll die, Yuri's eyes sharpened. His voice still trembled, but defiance rang clear. Then there's no way to reject it? No, blue flames erupted around him. Mana surged. His sword ignited azure. He raised the blade and met the descending force, steel to steel, light to blood. The courtyard shook under the impact. The king smirked, satisfied. You endured it well. Yuri, breathing hard but steady, met his gaze. Will unbroken. His hand trembled as he looked at it. Just now, that was... The king stepped forward, offering his own sword, authority forged in steel. No need for words, he said. Come back alive. Yuri straightened. Yes, sir. He turned to his men, raised the blade high, light flashing like a vow. I am the Third Prince of Briol, Yuri Briol. Believe in me. Energy surged through the ranks. All troops, advance. Banners snapped. Boots thundered. The army moved like a single will. Meanwhile, deep beneath the palace, a different will awakened. In the dungeon's dark, a monstrous hand wrapped around iron bars. Eyes flared crimson. The low growl that followed made the stones themselves listen. Something dangerous had opened its eyes. And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this recap and want to see what happens next, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming parts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything, and your support really helps this channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.